Josh Taylor wins a 12-round unanimous decision over Viktor Postol in a WBC super lightweight final eliminator, and he is now the mandatory challenger for WBC super lightweight champion Jose Ramirez. Before the fight, Viktor Postol said he was surprised that Josh Taylor actually took this fight because of the fact that Taylor was so inexperienced. And I have to admit, I raised both eyebrows when I heard this fight announced. Putting a guy in Taylor who is only 12-0 in with Viktor Postol, a former world champion, a guy whose only loss was to Terence Crawford. That is very aggressive and very ambitious matchmaking by the McGuigans. That's what I thought going in. But that's testament to how much faith the McGuigans have in Josh Taylor, in his ability, both physical ability, technical ability, his mindset, so on and so forth. And he showed it all in this fight. He demonstrated in this fight why the McGuigans have got so much faith in him. This fight was fought at a tremendous pace, and it was mainly Taylor setting this tremendous pace. He's got incredible energy levels. He's a very skilled fighter. He can fight on the outside and on the inside. He was switching between southpaw and orthodox quite a lot in this fight. He's a natural, I believe he's a natural southpaw. I mean, he normally fights the southpaw, but when I say natural southpaw, I mean, I believe he's naturally left-handed. But he normally fights southpaw. He switched orthodox quite a few times in this fight, and he was able to land good shots from the orthodox position, particularly left hooks. So it was a very competitive fight all the way through. A lot of rounds were close. Viktor Postol was more comfortable at long range, as you would expect, with some sharp, straight punches. But Josh Taylor was setting a tremendous pace. He was landing good shots of his own all the way through the fight. And it was just a really, really entertaining spectacle to watch. I would say after 7-8 rounds, it was pretty even. Taylor was noticeably rocked by a Viktor Postol right hand, I think in the 7th, but he recovered very quickly. And it was pretty even. Some people had Postol up by a couple rounds. Other people had Taylor up by a couple rounds. It was that sort of fight. As the fight progressed, I feel like Taylor's youth and his energy started to become more of a factor. He ended up dropping Viktor Postol in the 10th round, and that probably sealed the deal for him in the eyes of most people, because a lot of people had the fight very close. Some people even had Josh Taylor behind by a round or two going into the championship rounds. But with that knockdown, I think he pretty much sealed the deal in the eyes of most people and pulled out the victory. So very impressed with Josh Taylor's performance in only his 13th professional fight to take on a guy of the quality of a Viktor Postol and beat him the way that he did and answer all the questions that he answered. Tremendous performance. Very, very impressive from Josh Taylor. Now, as far as the scores go, they were very wide. And even Josh Taylor's own promoter, Barry McGuigan, criticized the scores. He said the scores were far too wide. So when your own promoter is criticizing them, you know there's something up with the scores, right? But nonetheless, I think the right man won. And yeah, I'm very, very impressed with Josh Taylor. I mentioned in the previous video, people being critical of Ohara Davis, saying he'll never win a world title. Why? Because he lost to Josh Taylor? Josh Taylor is a tremendous talent. It's not normal for a guy with only 12 professional fights to take on Viktor Postol. That's not normal, by the way. Right? Taylor is an outstanding talent. That doesn't mean Ohara Davis is not world level or can't be world level or can't win a world title. He's just not as good as Taylor. That's all. World champions are not all at the same level, in case you hadn't noticed. Some world champions are far better than others. And as I've said previously, if people like Darren Barker and Anthony Crolla, etc., Ricky Burns can pick up world titles, no disrespect to any of those guys, but if guys like that can pick up world titles, I don't see why Ohara Davis can't. You know, obviously, Josh Taylor, you would imagine, has a much higher ceiling than Ohara Davis. Just a much more impressive talent at this point in his career. So, yeah, Taylor, fantastic performance. And let me know how you guys think he'll do against this man, Jose Ramirez, who's a young guy himself. You know, Taylor, 27 years old, Ramirez, 25. Ramirez has had 22 fights. Taylor's now had 13 fights. So, you know, Ramirez with a few more fights, but it's not like Ramirez has been fighting the best of the best out there. He does have a good record. You know, won the vacant title over Amir Imam in his last fight, WBC vacant super lightweight title. So he's not some long reigning champion who is dominating the division or anything like that. So for Josh Taylor to be stepping in with Ramirez, maybe in his next fight, maybe the fight after, we don't know when this mandatory is going to be called. So Taylor might have to stay busy for a couple fights, but let's say he fights Ramirez certainly within the next 4 fights, next 3-4 fights, then you're looking at Josh Taylor potentially becoming a world champion before he reaches 20-0. And that's pretty good going. Alright, that's pretty good going. So let me know what you felt about Josh Taylor's performance here. Were you as impressed as I was? Obviously, Postol gave him plenty of problems, but you would expect that. Postol's supposed to give him plenty of problems. The guy was 12-0 going into the fight. Right? He's fighting Postol, a former world champion who's only ever lost to Crawford. He was supposed to have problems. Yeah? So, yeah, let me know what you felt about it in the comments, people. It's happening. I'm out.